Hey, I'm Dave Watkins, Watkins Films, and today we're going to talk a little bit about a new Paramount Presents release, Bringing Out the Dead. Now, despite what some people may think, this is not a sequel to the Bring Out Your Dead segment of Monty Python and the Holy Grail. This is actually a fairly serious movie. It is more of a drama, like thriller. I don't even know if it's, I would say thriller, but it does have psychological. It does have some maybe supernatural stuff going on, but it may all be in the main character's head. And now it deals with a medic who is really strung out as far as he is very depressed. He kind of feeds off of saving people. He hasn't been able to save anyone in a while, and he hasn't been getting enough sleep, and he's really about to have a mental breakdown. And recently, one of his victims, I'm gonna say victim. I don't know why I was gonna say victim. His patients that he picked up was she died of a drug overdose, and he's been seeing her face everywhere, and this is affecting him and the people that his partners are having to deal with this type of psychological breakdown that he's going through, and they're also having to deal with the everyday medical like crazy stuff going on in the streets, like a lot of like people dying of heart attacks and drug overdoses and things of this nature. So this movie was directed by Martin Scorsese. I'm maybe pronouncing that right. It has a very similar tone, even though not as comedic as his film After Hours, where it reminds me of that because a lot of this takes place at night when he's doing his ambulance runs. I guess you would call it runs. I'm not sure what you would call it, but the script is written in a very well from a perspective of an ambulance driver. I've never done it myself, but I feel like it seems to be well researched as far as I can tell. Throughout the film, it takes place, I think it's 3 nights. There might be a fourth. There's a day part that takes place in between the first and second nights, and every ambulance ride every night he has a different partner, and each partner has a very different personality, and some of it is almost seems like a spiritual type of escalation. The first partner, played by John Goodman, is the most level-headed of the three, but he seems to be talking about normal sort of things, like let's go get some food and what are we going to eat, and he kind of takes a lot of like they now the film in general does have some dark humor in it, but they're in these very serious situations. But the best way to handle it, I think it's very realistic. When you're constantly in situations that require, like, that you're seeing death and you're seeing people sick, I think you kind of develop a dark sense of humor. A lot of people would to deal with these circumstances, and they have, like John Goodman's character. Even though he's the most level-headed of his three partners, he's kind of gotten this. But you can tell. I don't know if Nicolas Cage's characters, the way he's acting and his thoughts are bothering him, but he's trying to like shake it off and be with dark humor. Now all three of his partners do this, and they try to act like he's not about to have a mental breakdown, and they try to cheer him up, and they try to just pretend like it's business as usual. By the end of each night, John Goodman's character has the least climatic exit, but you could tell that he's bothered by what's going on, to the extent he's sweeping up like some blood from their latest patient, and he's like kind of at his wits end. Now, you don't know what happens to his character after this. It shows him one other time in a flashback, but and Ving Rhames' character, the second partner, he is overly religious, and he's constantly talking about religion, and he has got he flirts with the operator, like the dispatcher. So the first part, it's a guy, and Martin Scorsese himself voices the character. The second is a lady, and apparently Ving Rhames' character has something going with her. Or they have a kind of flirtatious thing going on. but he kind of analyzes everything from a religious point of view, and he tries to get Nicolas Cage's character on board with this. Eventually, on the third night, Tom Sizemore is the third partner, and he is the most. Nicolas Cage's character is ridden with him before, and he's closest to what the way Nicolas Cage's character acts. But he is. This guy is crazy and a lot more crazy than the other guys, and so he's a very bad influence, and he's also he's borderline mentally unstable, and he is violent in a way. So it's interesting that the back and forth between the two of them. But at first he's very concerned about Nicolas Cage's character's what's going on with his head, and then eventually he kind of devolves into this violent thought of there's a character, like a bum type of character that he can't stand. The guy's like breaking windows and stuff, and then he decides the best thing to do would be to try to I guess either kill the guy or beat him to death or something like that. But it kind of goes in that direction, and then Nicolas Cage's character steps in. Another important character, Patricia Arquette, plays kind of a pseudo love interest sort of character in a way, or she's almost a character that kind of brings him to a different type of thought process. On the first night, when he's out with John Goodman's driver, they go to this house, and then her dad is having a heart attack, and then that's when he meets her, and then he brings the dad back to the ER, and then each night every time he goes back to the ER, he kind of encounters her again, and then they start to have more conversations and things of that nature. In between the second and third night, there's a large part of that where he follows her and sees what she's doing, and they have some. He actually, I'm not going to give away a lot of what happens here, but he kind of makes a connection with her, which follows through until the last segment. Now the film does have a spiritual type of thing going. Things don't happen exactly as you would expect them to happen. It doesn't tie things up nicely in a bow, but people in this type of situation are kind of numb to certain items, but there is a kind of a nice type of resolution at the end between Nicolas Cage's character and Patricia Arquette's character. First time I saw this film, it was like when it first came out. I probably rented it on DVD or something, and this is an underrated film in my opinion. I think it doesn't get the attention that it deserves. I think it's a really well done, underrated film. But as you're watching, especially a character played by Nicolas Cage, and he is the protagonist of the film, you kind of want to be on his side. You kind of, in some ways, think that he might do things the way that a hero would do things, but not necessarily. And that's kind of where this makes it interesting. What happens in the film, he does kind of lean towards that way, but this character is in a bad place. He's hallucinating. He even imagines Patricia Arquette's dad talking to him, or maybe he is. It's unclear whether these supernatural occurrences are really happening, or he's just so far gone, which I think he's so far gone, or he's so close to the edge that he's imagining these things, like seeing this dead girl's face on all these people going by, and it's very concerning what's happening with him. Really, he goes into this drug type of situation where he meets I guess kind of the good drug dealer who's giving out kind of not the drugs that help people relax, and he meets with that guy. There's a bad drug dealer as well, who's a violent drug dealer that you don't really see on screen, but he's giving out really dangerous drugs to people that are causing them to overdose. But this is kind of the good drug dealer he meets, and later on, in a really awesome scene, there's a little bit of spoilers. He ends up saving him in a way that's it doesn't ever. It almost goes, like, I guess, sentimental, but it still keeps that detachment, and that detachment makes this realistic. You know, it could easily have gone into like a miracle. Like, miracles do happen. They happen, but there's still a certain detachment from them, which makes it perhaps unsatisfying because you want to feel, but when someone is so dead inside from their experiences, like Bring Out the Dead, that's the name of the title. That's the title of the film. When someone is so dead inside, can there be like an Ebenezer Scrooge moment where they just realize that everything's okay and the rest of their life's going to be fine? Everything's going to be fine, because nothing, it's not going to be fine. He's having to carry this. All these ambulance drivers in this city that's overrun with death and drugs and crime. They're having to carry this with them, and whether or not this is something that they can let go of later on, they may or may not be able to. They're very traumatized, they're very shell shocked in a way, especially Nicolas Cage's character. It's a fascinating type of story, though it may not seem satisfying, but I do like the momentum of the story too. I like the way. Now, I used to like the the show ER, and I like the momentum, especially watching the pilot of them bringing people into the ER and just the momentum and the excitement. Now, once I think if you dealt with these type of situations and having people in the hospital, these type of things may not seem very exciting to you anymore. They might actually make you feel, might bring up old trauma and might make you feel that way, and this could possibly do that. Now, as far as some of the actor in the ER, Nestor Serrano, I think is how you pronounce his name, who was in the film Hanging with the Homeboys. He's a really good actor. He's kind of the main doctor in the ER every time he goes back there and he encounters him. Mark Anthony plays Noel, who is this homeless character who has brain damage that they encounter. He encounters him on all three nights, and it's a pretty well done performance. And also Cliff Curtis plays Cy, who is the good type of drug dealer, and he's got some pretty good scenes. Cliff Curtis was in, I think, the first season and part of the second season of Fear the Walking Dead. He plays like the husband of Kim Dickens' character. So I think the cast is very nice here. I really think it is well cast, and all the acting is very solid, and they are given good things to do. So let's take a look at the packaging. So this is a Paramount Presents release, and as they tend to do, they open up like this, and this is the original artwork poster. As you see the cross there, it kind of implies the kind of a religious type of awakening that he is more of a spiritual type of awakening that may be coming, may or may not be coming as the movie goes forward. And then here's the same as the outside cover, and there is a 4K disc and a Blu-ray disc. The Paramount Presents releases, I think they do a good job with them, and I've gotten a few of them recently, and I've done some reviews on them. I do like all this. Now, a lot of times they'll release this, and then a little bit later they'll release their normal one that doesn't have the Paramount Presents packaging. Now, the transfer is well done. Now, this is an interesting movie, the way that it's shot. It's from 1999, and at this point there was some. They like to make things look almost, in some instances, like, especially here, this look like kind of a documentary type of film. And a lot of times the color's off, like it will look like all green or whatever to make people look more sick. A lot of this is like stylized on purpose. And a lot of times, like, there will be like bright lights that will make things like really washed out or really bright that you can't see the detail very much anyway. When the lighting is the correct lighting and skin tones look normal, there is a pretty good amount of detail to be seen with this 4K transfer. But it is often not that way. But it's not really like a stunning 4K release like you may get sometimes. But it is an uptick from any previous release, and I think it looks good in general. All right, now let's go ahead and rate this thing. Now I'm going to give Paramount Presents, I'm going to give them a 4 on this packaging and the release itself. I'm going to give the film a 4-star rating. I really like this film. I think some people might find it underwhelming or not. It might not be their cup of tea, or they might be expecting something else from it. But I liked it the first time I saw it. Clearly, when you watch it, maybe the first time you think things are going to maybe go a different way. Would it have been nice to see John Goodman's character again, like later on, or even Ingram's character again after the first night? But it's not really about their characters. In many ways, I think it does kind of remind me of A Christmas Carol. Now that I think about it, because you got the three ghosts, you got the three different partners, and he kind of has a bit of an epiphany, even though it doesn't go like big Christmas Carol like epiphany at the end. But I could see that is kind of being like the reason behind having the three partners and what he experiences from each one. Now I might have to think about that some more, because could they possibly represent the past, present, and the future? Maybe, because John Goodman's character is the past, as he's the one that was with him when she had the drug overdose. The present, Ving Rhames' character is he's talking about the religion, and kind of it does seem like he is wanting him to be present in the present day. And then the future, which is in the Christmas Carol films, is death. Tom Sizemore's character definitely kind of represents that, as he tries to kill the homeless man, and he can see himself in Tom Sizemore's character, and he breaks away from that at the end. So maybe it was a bit influenced by a Christmas Carol. I don't know. Anyway, let me know what you think about the film if you've seen it before. I'm Dave Watkins, Watkins Films. And if you haven't done so already, if you smash that like button and subscribe to this channel, thanks for watching.